Imagine walking into a dealership, paying £50,000 for a brand new vehicle, and then discovering you don't even have the legal right to drive it home. Instead, you're told it must stay parked in one exact spot, forever. And to keep it there, you must hand over £6,000 every single year to a landlord who can raise that price whenever they feel like it. Would you sign that contract? Most people would laugh and walk away, yet, right now. Across the rain-slicked coastlines of the United Kingdom, millions of ordinary families are doing this exact thing, handing over billions of their hard-earned pounds. Why? Because they think they are buying a dream seaside home. A piece of paradise for their kids, but behind the arcade lights, the mascot shows, and the smell of fried fish and chips, lies a cold, calculated financial machine. This isn't just hospitality, this isn't just tourism. What you are looking at is a high-margin, hyper-defensible physical software-as-a-service ecosystem, a business model so insanely lucrative that Wall Street titans and private equity firms quietly bought up thousands of miles of British coastline. And today, we are going to crack open this invisible cash machine, layer by layer, to reveal how thousands of everyday customers are trapped in a system designed to extract every single penny from their pockets. To understand this economic illusion, let's look at a quick story. Meet Dave and Sarah, a working-class couple from Manchester. After years of saving, they decided to buy a static holiday caravan in North Wales. The sales representative showed them a stunning double-glazed unit, complete with modern furnishings and a sun deck. "It's an investment in your family's memories," the salesman smiled. "And if you aren't using it, just rent it out. It'll pay for itself." It sounded incredible. Dave signed the contract, paid £45,000 in cash, and felt like a king. But 6 months later, reality hit like a cold wave of Atlantic seawater. First came the letter in late November. The annual pitch fee increased by 12%. Then came the utility bill for electricity and gas, charged at rates nearly double what Dave paid for his actual brick-and-mortar home back in Manchester. When Dave angrily called the park office to complain, the manager's response was ice cold. "If you don't like it, you are free to move your caravan." And that is where the trap snapped shut. You see, Dave didn't own the land. He only owned an aluminum box on chassis wheels. To move a 30-foot static caravan off a site requires specialized crane crews, heavy flatbed transport, and permits. Cost over £3,000. Worse yet, rival holiday parks in the region have strict policies. They refuse to accept second-hand caravans coming from other sites. Dave was trapped. Move it and destroy its value, or stay and pay whatever the park demanded. He had bought the hardware, but he was now legally chained to an expensive software subscription he could never cancel. This is the core foundation of the holiday park financial engine, shifting the massive cost of property ownership away from the business and slamming it directly onto the consumer. In traditional hotels, the company buys the building, pays for the beds, replaces broken boilers, and bears all the risk if tourists stop coming. If occupancy drops, the hotel hemorrhages money. Holiday parks completely flipped this dynamic on its head by selling the static caravans directly to customers like Dave. The park operator offloads all asset depreciation, all structural maintenance, and all upfront capital expenses. When a pipe bursts in freezing January, the corporate operator doesn't spend a single dime. The caravan owner pays for it out of pocket. When the furniture gets worn down, the owner pays to replace it. The park owner simply sits back, collects upfront pitch fees paid in advance every January, and operates with massive negative working capital. They hold millions of pounds in cash before the summer season even begins. Now, ask yourself this: what happens when caravan owners realize they're losing money and decide to rent out their unit to weekend tourists to recoup the costs? Surely, that's where the customer wins. Right? Wrong. This is where the park unlocks another hidden, high-margin revenue stream. If Dave wants to rent his caravan out on booking platforms, the park step in with strict operational rules. For safety and security, the contract reads, all bookings must go through the site's official management system. And what is the park's fee for managing a 3-night booking? A staggering 30 to 40% commission. If Dave tries to bypass their system and hand keys to guests himself, The park hits him with mandatory guest entertainment pass charges, key handling fees, and mandatory site cleaning penalties. No matter which way the money flows, the park operator extracts a toll at the gate. They monetize the land when it's occupied, they monetize the pipes carrying water under the grass, and they take a cut of every single transaction that happens inside their fences. It is a frictionless, captive consumer ecosystem. Think about it like an airport terminal or a cruise ship. Once a family drives through the gates of a holiday park, they rarely leave the perimeter. Their kids want the arcades, the indoor swimming pool, the bar, the bingo hall, the takeaway pizza shop, and every single one of those venues is owned, operated, or heavily taxed by the Central Park Company. Take the arcade machines, for instance. Those colorful coin pushers and claw games aren't just entertainment for children. They are cash-printing devices with 80% profit margins. The park collects revenue on the accommodation, then collects high-margin cash on the entertainment. While charging inflated retail prices for food and drink, it is a continuous financial loop, designed to capture 100% of the family's holiday wallet share. At this point, you might be wondering, why don't competitors just build newer, bigger, cheaper holiday parks right next door to steal these customers away? Why doesn't the free market destroy these high-profit margins? Because of an absolute economic shield, the British local planning system. Try getting planning permission today to turn 100 acres of pristine coastal countryside into a massive caravan park. Local councils will reject it instantly, environmental regulators will block it, coastal preservation groups will sue to stop it. The supply of usable holiday park land in the United Kingdom is effectively locked. It is completely frozen. This creates an unassailable defensive moat around existing legacy sites. If you own a holiday park that was built in the 1960s or 70s on a prime stretch of coastline, you possess an irreplaceable geographic monopoly. No new competitor can land grab next to you. Supply is capped, while demand for domestic vacations continues to surge, and when supply is fixed, pricing power becomes unlimited. This exact dynamic caught the attention of multi-billion-dollar private equity funds. They realized that thousands of independent, family-owned holiday parks across the UK were being run like sleepy, old-fashioned businesses. These mom-and-pop owners were charging low-pitch fees, ignoring modern dynamic pricing, and letting cash slip through the cracks. So, private equity firms launched massive corporate roll-up strategies. They bought hundreds of fragmented, independent parks, bundled them into corporate monoliths, and applied cold, institutional efficiency. They introduced algorithmic dynamic pricing for summer rentals just like airlines do. They centralized food and beverage purchasing to squeeze suppliers. They standardized pitch fee increases across tens of thousands of plots, boosting operating cash flow instantly. And then came the ultimate financial maneuver: the sale and leaseback. Corporate operators split the business into two distinct pieces: the PropCo, which owns the physical land, and the OpCo, which runs the day-to-day operations. They sold the underlying land to institutional infrastructure funds for astronomical valuations, and leased it back on long-term contracts. They pulled out hundreds of millions in pure cash, without losing control of the operational profit machine. It is financial engineering at its absolute finest. But what happens when economic turmoil hits? What happens during periods of soaring inflation or falling consumer confidence? Surely, when families struggle to pay their home heating bills, holiday parks collapse. Right here lies the final, counterintuitive secret of this entire industry. Holiday parks are remarkably, brilliantly, recession-proof. When macroeconomic pressures squeeze middle-class household budgets, families don't stop vacationing altogether. Instead, they trade down. The family that used to spend £6,000 flying to a luxury resort in Spain or Florida downshifts to a £500 staycation at a domestic caravan park. During economic downturns, holiday parks actually experience spikes in volume. They capture the budget-conscious traveler dropping down from international flights, while maintaining their fixed, recurring annual income from caravan owners who are legally obligated to keep paying site fees regardless of the economy. It is an asset class that prints cash during economic booms, and expands its customer base during economic busts. So, what is the ultimate business lesson hidden beneath the surface of the UK holiday park industry? It isn't about caravans, it isn't about coastal views, and it certainly isn't about cheap family fun. It is about structural leverage. It is the power of controlling scarce, unreplicable real estate, and pairing it with a business model that transfers all operational risk onto the buyer, while locking them into continuous, unavoidable subscription fees. The customer walks away thinking they bought a cozy summer retreat by the sea.